Hello, everyone. We're back, episode number 8 for Futebol No Filter. I'm your host, Brun Krak. I'm with my friends Steph Teixeira. Steph, how are you doing today?
Hey, pretty good. We won today, so we'll talk about it in more detail. Doing pretty good.
Georgie, how about you?
What's going on?
Everything good?
Everything is awesome.
All right. So, round 31 is in the almost in the books. We have one more game tomorrow. Results until today. Boa Vista loses at home to Marítimo 1-0. Marítimo picks up 3 valuable points. Aves 1, Stubble 0. The game that Stubble could not lose, they lost. Rio Ave 2, Portimonense 1. Another game, Portimonense had the lead. Lose in the final seconds to an Olympic goal by, I forget who it was. Played for Benfica. Center mid.
It was
Felipe Augusto.
Felipe Augusto.
Oh, Felipe Augusto, yeah.
Yeah, 2-1. Tondela loses at home to Porto 3-1. Famalicão and Benfica draw 1-1. Guimarães 1. Gil Vicente 2. That was today. Comeback win for Gil Vicente. Guimarães loses 3 valuable points that they could not lose. Sporting 1, Santa Clara 0. Paz Freira 1, Braga 5. Braga blew them up. And then Bolonense and Moreirense will be played tomorrow. The table as it stands with -1 game for 2 teams. Porto 76, Benfica 68, Sporting 59, Braga 56, Rio Ave now in 5th with 50, Famalicão 49, Guimarães, 46 points. 3 points out of away from Famalicão. It's going to be tough now. They're 4 points away from Rio Ave. Moreirense and Gil Vicente at 39, Santa Clara, Boa Vista 38, Marítimo now is at 37, Paz Freira 34, Bolonense 31, Tondela and Stubble 30, Portimonense 27, and Aves 17. Any comments so far about the standings right now, guys?
The only thing is mathematically, Sporting, the worst they can do is the 5th place. The race now for the 5th place, it's between Famalicão and Rio Ave, and I think Guimarães, they kind of with that loss at home, they made it tough on themselves. So I'll give it to Guimarães, Famalicão, and Rio Ave for the 5th place, and the 3rd place and 4th between Sporting and Braga. That's how it's going to be.
George, looking at the European spots, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything changing. You got, yeah, I don't think I don't think you'll see anything change until the end of the season. I think it's pretty much set right now.
You think that Rio Ave will finish in 5th, Famalicão 6th, and Guimarães 7th?
I think so.
I mean, Guimarães definitely took a huge step backwards today, losing at home to Gil Vicente when they had the lead.
Big time.
Down at the bottom, we have Bolonense at 31, Tondela and Stubble at 30, Portimonense at 27. I mean, we're kind of talking about this almost every week. Steph, going back to you. Any predictions right now? What do you think?
Well, Portimonense lost, but Stubble lost too. So, and Tondela lost too, and Belenenses lost as well. Belenenses, they have one more game. They could pull away tomorrow if they win. But for Portimonense, knowing that Vitória de Setúbal and Tondela lost, it was a sign of relief, and they still have 3 games left. That's still 9 points. So Portimonense could still save themselves. So it's going to be an interesting race at the bottom. And I would still include Belenenses in it. So we know Aves is done. So we're talking about Belenenses, Tondela, and Setúbal. So it'll be an interesting final 3 games for these 4 clubs.
Georgie, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I mean, I think Portimonense got lucky that you had the other two teams that tied. Portimonense plays Paços Ferreira next game, which is a tough game. Then they have Boa Vista, and then finish up with Aves. So I mean, they got an opportunity. They got to pull some points against Paços Ferreira, though.
If they can beat Paç Freire, that's going to be 3 gigantic points. And don't forget the last game of the season is going to be Bolonense and Stubble going at it head to head. That's going to be a major game down on the bottom. All right. We're going to move forward to the game that I'll cover, starting with Tondela versus Porto. Porto won the game 3-1. I'll start with the home team. Nias in goal, Mofi, Sampaio, Tavares, and Alves as the 4 guys in the back. Touro, Jaquite, Pepe Lu, and Pite across in the middle. João Pedro supporting Richard up top. For Porto, it was Marquezine, Manafá, Mavimba, Pep, and Tels. Corona, Uribe, Sergio Oliveira, and Otávio in the middle. Marega and Suarez up top. Tondela definitely played the game pretty open. I really think that they made, first of all, it was a very hot day from what the announcers were saying. And I think it impacted both teams. Second thing, they were saying that the field was extremely dry. So the ball didn't seem like it was moving fast enough for both sides. They watered the grass several times. Within minutes, they say the field was dried up. And I think it impacted the quality of the game. Porto missed a lot of passes in the first half. A lot of passes. I think they played a little nervous. And also, it was Tondela that was, applying pressure basically in the middle third. And then obviously in their defensive third is when they started to really press. They let Porto come at them, and then they were looking to counter. I think it was a bad strategy, to be honest, by Nacho to try to do that. And the players that he used for his strategy didn't really work. He was looking for the speed of Touro when he had Murillo on the bench, and that was a guy that probably would have been better if they were trying to play that style. Touro did have the opportunity to come in and cut in and take a shot or two. Pite was more worried about stopping Manafá. Manafá was a guy that tried to create a lot of unbalance with the combination passes. Porto was trying to get the ball to the middle and quickly to the outside and try to get across or a pass to the top of the box. And it wasn't really working because Tondela was dropping their lines very deep. Second half began, and it began with a major error by Nias. He started his second straight game in favor of Claudio Ramos, who has been injured. He made a couple of big saves in the first half, but in the second half he made a critical error on a corner, and Danilo heads it home. Second goal, great recovery by Marega. Combination pass with Corona, and he gets through a ball where he goes isolated one-on-one with the keeper, and he finishes. And then this is where things kind of got out of hand, and I don't understand why Sergio Conceição didn't make a change, which was Uribe. Uribe lost complete control of himself. He probably shouldn't have finished the game. Some people will dispute the yellow card or the lack of the yellow card on the PK. According to Juiz Final, they said that it was correctly not given because he was trying to play the ball. But it was a penalty nonetheless. 2-1, game changed. Tondela won a lot of confidence. They pushed Porto in the back. And then Porto finishes it with the PK itself. Infantile error by the defender, knocking over Marega. And then the game was over. I know you guys are probably going to talk about that whole thing with Marega. So let's analyze the game first, and then we'll talk about what happened with Marega and what should happen with Marega going forward. Steph, go ahead.
Yeah, I did get to watch the game actually, and like you said, o Porto começou bocadinho com receio, or maybe feeling that this game was a crucial game to win because Benfica had won before. So they felt a little bit of pressure, even though they were still leading by 3 points. But then once they scored the first goal by Daniel Pereira, and the same rule applies. If portistas like to talk about Nelson Leite foi comprado do Benfica de sei mais quê, então aqui o guarda-redes do Tondela, most likely he was given saco azul. I don't know what to say, but that was for a professional goalie to call it a mistake. I think it was a gift. We'll find out later if it was a game that was bought by Porto. Besides that,
what was the score of the game at that time, Steph? When he made the saves in the first half, what was the score?
O Nelson Leite também fez.
No.
No, o Nelson Leite, when he played against Benfica, he made some crucial saves, and you guys crucified him right away on social media.
What was the score during that game? When he made the mistakes, what was the score?
It was 0-0.
Okay. So he made the mistake.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't matter when he made the mistake. When Daniel Pereira scored, it was 0-0.
Well, but the difference is
and Porto went ahead by 1.
And Elton Leite made critical saves after it was 2-0. Make sure you say that.
It doesn't.
Make sure you say it's
not after it was 2-0. No.
It doesn't make any. It doesn't make any difference. The thing is,
when it's 0-0, it's hard to score the first goal.
It makes no difference. You can spit out hate that it favors you, but then when it's in your favor, you don't like it. I mean, it's just the way it is, Bruno. You like to talk shit about Benfica, how much it's helped. Now it's our turn to talk shit.
I disagree because
well, you can disagree all you want, but like you said, a mistake. You said it nicely in a very elegant way. It was a mistake that you shouldn't have made it. And now we're saying, without any evidence, because you don't have any evidence that Nelson Leite did it purposely. I don't have any evidence.
You know what?
He did it purposely either. I'm just throwing this back at you because you like to bring up when things are done in a certain way in favor of Benfica, and I'm telling you, if the same thing happened in favor of Porto. That's all.
I'm gonna repeat myself, so maybe I didn't make myself clear.
Oh, you made yourself clear. But
no, I didn't. No, because
you did.
When Elton Leite makes his saves, starts to make his saves, it was already at least minimum 1-0.
Yeah, there's no logic in what you're trying to say.
I let you talk, so let me talk. I let you talk, so let me talk.
No, actually, you don't let me talk because this is my time to talk. I let you talk.
No, I gave my analysis to the game.
No, I let you talk. I wasn't done. You cut me off.
No, but we're talking about the Elton Leite for a second. So Elton Leite,
okay.
We're discussing that now. When Elton Leite made his saves or started to make his saves, the minimum was already 1-0. Versus Nias, when he started to make his saves, and he made a lot of good ones in the first half, the score was still 0-0. See the difference right now? One team was winning, and the still game is tied. But
it doesn't make any difference.
It definitely matters.
In your mind, the Super Dragão, it doesn't make any logic whatsoever. It makes no difference whatsoever. The mistake was made by Coffee. Is that his name actually?
Nias.
Nias. I'm sorry. Yeah, Nias. The mistake was made by Nias, and I have no evidence he did it purposely. Okay, so I would like to emphasize that. It was a mistake, like you said, but if we think the way you do, like every time something happens in favor of Benfica, so then maybe saco azul Não, mas não é preciso. Para corrupção, como o Porto fez nos anos 80 e 90, o dinheiro e a fruta é que valia.
Isso é que tu dizes.
Digo não, está na internet, como tu dizes, contra o Benfica, contra o Sporting. Mais contra o Benfica. Mais contra o Benfica, claro. Mas meu amigo, está na internet, para quem quiser ver. But anyway,
Nunca vi nada assim.
Because you don't look for it. It's against you. You don't look for it. Because
No,
if
I look for it.
If you do, it's there. It's there.
We talked about it.
You say it's backstage, but when Benfica say that to defend their clubs, you don't accept that. So the remaining of the game, the second goal by Marega was a clean goal, was a good counter-attack, good visão de jogo do médio de Porto, passou grande passo para o Marega, and in those kind of situations, Marega delivers. Then towards the end, the PK in favor of Tondela was a PK. They scored the 1-2, and then after that, they became a little bit dangerous. And then it comes a PK from the skies, doubtfully. But I give it the benefit of the doubt. It's a 50-50. They called it, but if they wouldn't have called it, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I'm not going to say, it wasn't a PK, but it was a very soft PK. And then
defender plows through an attacking player. It's not a PK to you.
So much about not cutting me off, but again, you cut me off. So
I'm the host.
No, we are all the hosts. You're not the host.
I'm hosting today.
Well, we the co-hosts. So you're not the host.
I'm the co-host. As a co-host, I'm asking you.
Okay, so you gotta wait. It's not your turn yet. So then after that, so I can finish talking about this game. Porto killed the game off. Obviously, it was a PK towards the end and 3-1, and they won fairly, no matter of the cases and the PKs involved. If they were soft or not, Porto did deserve to win the game, and they leading the league because they're the most consistent team in the league. Sem inventar cenas, claro, e corrupções e não sei mais que. So there it is.
George, go ahead.
So I mean, I think it was the game started. It was kind of messy at the beginning. I think with the second half, Porto loosened up a little bit, and after the goal, after the Danilo goal, things kind of got a little bit easier. The penalties that these guys are talking about. I mean, I'm looking right now at the Marega penalty. For me, it's not a penalty. For me, it's a complete flop. And I'll call it either way. If it's a penalty, I'll say it's a penalty. If it's not a penalty, I'll say it's not a penalty. I think he felt the contact, and you could just see him throw himself on the floor. So the game was tight, 2-1. E bem o penalti semanal que tem aparecido nas últimas semanas. But listen, I'm not gonna use the penalties as an excuse. Like Steph said, I think Porto's been the most consistent team, deserving of the title, because we didn't do what we were supposed to do coming back from the pandemic. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm looking at the stats: 54% ball possession for Porto against 46. Fouls are the same thing. Shots on net. Porto has an overwhelming amount of shots, 14 against 8. Shots on target, 6 against 2. So it's a championship team that when the game was tight, they were able to hold it together, and then once the score opened up, they were able to get the second goal in. But then the 2-1 kind of brought everything back to kind of an indecision type of thing, and depois apareceu o penalti que matou o jogo. But again, like I said, I think it's deserving. Porto would have won the game either way, and the championship is deserving for Porto as well, especially after the Benfica tie.
All right, we're gonna talk quickly about the whole situation with Marega. What do you guys think of the whole situation? Steph, go ahead.
Very childish of a professional player that gets paid a good salary it's the coach decision of who's supposed to take the PK. The players, they shouldn't be acting the way he did. And then that's all I got to say. I mean, his attitude sucked for the one who took the PK. In this case, who Fabio Vieira. He must have felt shitty. And then towards the end of the game, he just left to Marega. And but I believe they already made peace. And he went on social media saying, "I'm sorry." So, but very childish from an adult. I understand why he wants to take it though, because in his mind, maybe he still thinks he can get into the golden ball, o melhor marcador, because is he like in third? He would have been in third place with 11 goals, I believe. Umarega, because now he's got 10. Still a long way to catch Pizzi and Vinicius. But in his mind, maybe that's what he wanted. Or maybe the more goals you have scored in under your name, it's easier for you to get sold. I don't know. It's a motivation fact for players. But, didn't agree with his attitude at all.
Georgie, same question. How would you handle that?
No, I mean, listen. I think his time at Porto has been up. He had episodes like this at Porto. He had it last year. He had it at Guimarães. He had it at Marítimo. Every club that he's passed through, he had episodes like this. So I'm kind of surprised that Porto's actually been kind of patient with him and not sell him when they had an opportunity to sell him to England last year and the year before that. I think Sergio Conceição. I mean, it was a gutsy call to give it to the young kid to take the PK, especially in a 2-1 game. But I guess he thought, I have nothing to lose. It's 2-1. Benfica already tied, so the worst thing that could happen, we stay within the same distance, and the championship was basically over anyways without this result. So he's like, let me just give this kid an opportunity to step up and see what he can do. So listen, at the end of the day, it's like this. At the end of the day, players, you guys, players can practice PKs, they can do all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, the coach is the one that determines who the taker is. And just because you're the taker today doesn't mean that you're going to be the taker tomorrow. It's a coaching decision.
All right, just a couple of things, because the game was 2-1, so it wasn't for the win. It was basically to solidify the win. But
solidify that.
But some people don't know this. Fabio Vieira was actually the PK taker for the Porto B team, and if you look at his record as a PK taker, he's much better than anyone that Porto has on their A squad. And we're talking about Alex Telles, we're talking about Marega, Suarez, you name it. He's better than all of them based on percentages. And it's not even close. Marega in the past, just like others, have had their opportunity to be the guy, to be the PK taker, and they've missed. And I think that Sergio Conceição made a critical call, and I don't think they're putting Fabio Vieira on any platform of any kind. It's just that right now he's the best PK taker that we have, period. He's part of the A squad, regardless of his age. He's going to take the PKs, and I think that was the right thing to do because you needed to solidify the win. The 3 points are way more important than anybody else. As for Marega's action, I think that he's a guy that should never play for Porto again. End of story. I would not play him again. I don't care if it's Sporting coming up and we need one more point. He's just not a player that we should utilize ever again. He should be sold. He should have been sold for the last 2 years, but this is the year that we definitely say goodbye to Marega. Good luck to you, and thank you for everything you've done. But now it's time to say goodbye. We do have a listener on hold, so I'm gonna bring him in. I guess he got disconnected. I don't know what happened. All right, George, you're going on with your next with your stuff. Oh wait, is he back? He's back. Hold on a second. It's Hugo, so we're gonna add Hugo to the call. So give us 1 second, okay? Oh, he's gone. I don't know what happened to him. He disconnected again. All right, George, take it away, please.
All right, so I'll start with the lineups. So we had Famalicão, Defendi, Cauley, Roderick, William, Reds Jr., Gonçalves, Assunção, Radic, no meio campo, Lameiras, Del Campo, Martins, Fábio Martins. Benfica started with Vlaco Dimos, Tavares, Jardel, Ruben Dias, André Almeida, Gabriel, Vigel, Servi, Chiquinho, Pizzi. That's how we started the game. Again, I lineups, some changes again with the lineups. Ball possession, Benfica. What happened?
There was a change because I thought the announcer said that there was the same starting lineup against Boa Vista.
Oh, hold on, let me see. I don't think Chiquinho. Did Chiquinho play against Boa Vista? I don't think he played against Boa Vista.
I think he started.
I might be wrong.
No, he did.
I might be wrong. Then it was the same. It was the same lineup. As far as stats, ball possession 52 for Benfica. Actually, possession, which is actually a funny number, and it tells you a lot about the story. Benfica had 48% versus 52% for Famalicão. So Famalicão had more ball possession than Benfica. Shots 18 against 10 for Benfica. Shots on net 9 against 6 for Benfica. Fouls the same thing. Yellow cards the same thing. Corner kicks 8 for Benfica, 4 for Famalicão. I think it was a sloppy game. Benfica started out in the 7th minute. There was a controversial play that Servi was in the box. For me, it was a penalty kick. He got Roderick Miranda tripped him. Servi actually touches the ball to the line, and then Roderick Miranda comes late and touches his, I believe, his left knee. And drops him to the floor. Servi trying to be slick. He really takes a dive, also a little bit of a dive, kind of flops out, and which the referee might have thought that it was a complete dive. But again, that's where the VAR has to come in and check. And this wasn't even checked. It was yellow card for Servi, and the game continued right after. So I thought that was a penalty shot in the first half. We have the Pizzi goal, which was an okay goal. Pizzi actually started well the game, but then died off, I think, towards the end of the game. Also in the first half, there's another controversial play, which is with Tavares in the box with a Famalicão forward. The TV was asking for a penalty kick, but looking at the replay, Tavares actually kicks the ball out to the corner. Doesn't touches the player after he touches the ball, which I don't think it was a PK. And then Verissimo in the second half, again the same thing. Famalicão played a really really good game. Verissimo made some substitutions, and instead of helping the team, I think it actually made it worse. I think Famalicão scored right after Samaris came in, which again, I don't understand somebody's coming in the 82nd or 87th minute. I just don't understand that what they're doing with this player. But again, another sloppy game. Nothing. There's no attitude. A little bit better last game, but this game was again back to the normal Benfica that we've seen the last 15 games. So nothing surprising. I think it was wishful thought on my end, saying that they were going to win 2-0 in Famalicão, but again, no attitude. That's what I took out of the game.
Steph, go ahead.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy game for Benfica. Let's just remember that Famalicão has been one of the best teams playing football in Portugal. They know how to hold the ball. They know how to play soccer. They're not a shitty team whatsoever. Did Porto win in Famalicão?
No.
No. Sporting lost as well. So, Benfica tying in Famalicão, that's not where Benfica lost the championship. Because it was expected for the three big teams to go to Famalicão and encountered a lot of difficulties, in which they did. So Benfica did the hardest part, which was to score first by Pizzi. That was a great save by the goalie, and then Pizzi na recarga, he put it away. Then, for some odd reason, they start dropping the lines and then giving the initiation to Famalicão, and Famalicão knows how to play. And the Guga guy is pretty good. Guga. And Fabio Martins, we all know he's pretty good too if you give him space. And they kept on attacking. It was just a matter of time for them to score, and then they did score. Benfica, they left with 1 point, but they also could have lost easily. But also they had the chances to go ahead on the game. But towards the end, it was more Famalicão, just like George said, 52% control, possession of the ball, and Benfica at 48. Not a big difference, but 4% it's still 4%. That play that you mentioned with Guga and Tavares and the goalie of Benfica, it could have been a PK. Yeah, I think Benfica got lucky on that one, and I would have blamed it on Tavares, because Tavares made that crucial mistake. Instead of Olivier Volley was playing tic-tac-toe, and Guga never gave up on the play. And to me, it could have been a PK easily. So I think Benfica got lucky on that call. But besides that, the tie it fits the game. Both teams did enough to at least earn a point. Delayed Porto's inevitable championship title, which will be, if it won't be now on Wednesday against Sporting, it will be the following game against Moreirense no Estádio do Dragão, because they play home back to back.
It could actually be Tuesday.
So if Benfica loses, or tie. So até podem ser campeões sentados no sofá, isso é verdade. So the game of Benfica, Famalicão Benfica, was a great game to watch. A lot of drama until the end. Congratulations to Famalicão. They shouldn't be in 5th place. They actually should be like in 4th place or even 3rd place. They've been, in my point of view, they've been the soccer team in Portugal playing better football. As far as organizado, pensado, they just don't score as many times as they should. Again, Porto will be champion. It doesn't matter if it's this week or the following week. They will be, and it's not because they deserve it. It's because they were more regular. But it's a lot of the marathon Benfica, because they let it slip away after the COVID-19. And of course, Porto, they had to capitalize when they had to, and they were the most regular team on the final stretch. And 8 points is just way too much to overcome. Way too much. So that's it.
All right. I'm going to add a Hugo to our stream. Hugo, thank you for listening. I know you want to chime in, so go right ahead, bud. Can you hear us?
Yeah, no. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
No, thanks for having me on. Appreciate the invite, George. Just believe you guys were speaking on the Famalicão Benfica game, correct?
Yeah. You can talk whatever you want, but I mean, I know you were trying to get in the last segment, but there was like some type of interference that wasn't happening. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, to chime in on Benfica, obviously, from our standpoint, us Benfica fans, it's a debacle of a season. Being up 7 points at one point, even going to Dragão, losing that game, which is normal in the Classic, especially in Dragão. I mean, we rarely ever win there. To still leave that stadium up 4 points, I mean, you expected Benfica to wrap this title up, and then it was just a complete debacle. I don't know if Lage lost the locker room. Or again, to me, the problem is much worse. The problem comes from the top with Felipe Vieira. But clearly something happened there in the locker room. They dropped, I think it's been George, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 out of 15 in all competitions, which is unacceptable for clubs of this dimension. And again, even coming back from the pandemic, you're down a point. Porto drops points right away to Famalicão. And there was a big chance to overtake first place there with Tondela at home. They failed to do that. And then obviously the back-to-back draws with Tondela and Portimonense. Had Vieira pulled the trigger on Lage right after that result, I think Bruno, I think you would agree that quality-wise, this isn't one of the better Porto sides, and they were rattled at that point. And Benfica could have easily, with the so-called chicotada psicológica, maybe have carried on in this league. They didn't. Porto's going to be the fair winner. So I don't have much else to add on besides you gotta tip your hat to Porto this season. They deserve to win the league, and hopefully Benfica can salvage the season in the Portuguese Cup final.
In terms of quality, and you always compare from years past. Obviously, Porto's roster doesn't have the quality that it used to have, but I still think that through the media, it was downplayed that we weren't very competitive. And I've been posting comments of guys this past season that have wrote us off back in January, and that's kind of a nice revenge for those type of guys that always were looking to talk bad about us. So they're getting what they deserve. A lot of people are eating their words, and they have to swallow it dry. And got the guys like Rui Santos, for example, the one that I cannot stand that he's on television. He's the one that's probably the one with the biggest malone of them all, and I'm loving every second of it. But is Porto a justified winner? I think when we restarted, it was Porto trying to get their legs back, and now they seem like they got their legs back, and the proof is last 2 to 3 games. They seem like they have their legs back. Benfica just doesn't seem like they have had their legs back even prior to COVID-19. So, hey, it happens. Now you just gotta get reorganized for next season and see what happens. But Hugo, is that all you want to add?
I can add any. I don't know if you guys have any questions or if you wanted me to add any other topic.
No, that's good because we have George Amaral that's on the line too. So I'm gonna drop you from the podcast. We'll talk to you at another time. All right, thanks for the call.
Thank you, Hugo.
Thanks, guys.
Hugo.
Take care.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's we're gonna add in Georgie, the other George. Give me a second. George, how are you, George? You're back.
What's happening?
With your Red Bull gear.
Fellas? Hopefully you guys been staying dry because we got a lot of rain down here.
All right, do you got your ski jet in Harrison or?
Yeah, no, I'm in Lindenhurst now.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's kind of weird because now on the weekends with my kids' teams, we get to wear blue. You can figure that out, man. The irony of life. Yeah.
Well, you were in Harrison, you were wearing blue, so you should be used to it.
I just wanted to touch on first. I think it was a welcome situation that we encountered where and I'm sure George also welcomed that Steph and Bruno had a different perspective on things because like we talk about all the time, it's the Sagrada Aliança e tal, não sei quê, being on the same page. So today that seeing that you guys had the different ideology, it actually made me feel that you guys were supporters of 2 different clubs. That was kind of interesting. But now, see, Bruno's not laughing; he doesn't find that amusing.
It's your opinion, man. You have the right to your opinion.
The one thing that I wanted to touch on a little bit was from just the last week to close it out because there was a lot of good Felix bashing, and Felix hasn't had the best season, but I just wanted to the point that I wanted to make was just to remind you guys, Felix hasn't turned 21 yet, and I actually just jotted down a couple real quick, to remind, like Steph, for instance, that Figo went to Barcelona at 23 and he scored 5 goals. Nani at 20 was still at Sporting. At the Man United's first year, he scored 3 goals. Second year didn't play. Even Paulo Futre went to Athletic Madrid. At 20, he was still at Porto. João Manuel Vieira Pinto, at 20, he came back from Athletic Madrileño. So we're talking about big stages. That's as it relates to the Sporting guys. And we also had some Benfica guys, which obviously I'm not going to be as prone to mention, but I will remind Bruno of some of the Porto guys, what they were doing when they were 20. For instance, Deco at 20 was still at Alverca, and then he went on to Salgueiros, right? He went to Barcelona at 27 years old. Right?
Well, hold on a second. Remember, Deco didn't have the hype that João Felix had at 20 years old.
Well, yeah, but the difference is that the hype was built in by the market. That's what the market determined that the guy's worth. Because if you go to ShopRite and they're asking you $20 for a case of Coke, you're not gonna buy it, right? You're not. I'm not. So the idea of paying the 120, that's what the market rate. Whether that be right or wrong, I mean, based on his performance so far, obviously it's not a 120 million player. But just to give you an idea, Quaresma, our Mustang, our Harry Potter, tremendous player. At 20, he went to Barcelona. He scored 1 goal. He took a look from the Basilica, the Sagrada Familia, and he came back home.
Well, I mean, and that was part of the Deco trade.
Then he came back to Porto, right? Then he goes to Inter. He gets some nice in Milan, buys some nice Armani and Versace, scores 1 goal, comes back again, right? And these are guys that we at the time were identifying as potentially.
He actually went to Chelsea after.
Yeah, but what was the impact there? Zilch, right?
Well, he was there, and then a week later, Scolari got fired. Scolari asked for him.
But the idea, you'd agree with me that outside of Porto, he hasn't encountered any success, correct?
Besiktas, he had a lot of success at.
Where's that at?
I understand, but I mean, and I can answer why he wasn't successful.
No,
and
well, this is just we're not.
I'm going to tell you why he wasn't successful. The reason why he wasn't successful is because Quaresma is the type of player he has to be the man at the club, and at Inter he wasn't the man.
Well, but the thing is that it seems like Quaresma, we had a career of a hype. So if we're talking about a Felix hype for the last year, we've been having a Quaresma hype. Quaresma is the next real big thing, just like Nani and so forth. So, Fernando Couto at 20. Where was Fernando Couto at 20?
He was
in Famalicão at 20 years old. We take another Porto legend, a Porto legend. I don't want to beat up on you, Bruno, too much. We take another Porto legend, Vitor Bahia. At 27, he goes to Barcelona. He plays 1 year, played 30 games. Second year, he's gone. He's out of there. And these are mature players. These are guys.
He was like Barcelona due to preference because they had a Dutch goalkeeper and they prefer the Dutch goalkeeper and blah blah blah. But that all has to do with preference. I mean, we don't know if Simeone leaves. Let's just say he leaves. He goes to Inter Milan. That doesn't say that the next coach that comes in doesn't take the best out of João Felix. But right now, João Felix chose where he was going to go with the coach and the system and the style of play, and it didn't suit him, and he's burnt by that decision.
The only thing factual that we know is what transpired. What's going to happen in the future, we don't know. But we know that with Vitor Bahia, for instance, Van Gaal decided to bring in a Dutch goalie, and he thought that Dutch goalie had more quality than the myth of Vitor Bahia, the greatest goalie in the Portuguese soccer. So the whole idea was that, Pep at 20, he was at Maritimo. He had the opportunity to go to Sporting. Sporting passed them up, right? Sporting
Yeah,
passed
they
them
cut
up.
him. They cut him.
They let him go. So just the point that I was making was that I think that you guys were being a little, from my perspective, you're being
Harsh.
a little too harsh, because even, and I know Steph was saying, let's give the Ballon d'Or to Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes, where was he at 20? He was at Udinese, right? Serie A, he spent, 3-4 years in Serie A, scored 10 goals, right? So is Bruno Fernandes playing good soccer? Yeah, he's playing great soccer. He's been fantastic. But I don't think it's really fair for us to be labeling Felix a flop when I think he's one of the brightest futures that we have within our national team. And I think I'm always one that promotes Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo's great. I think Bruno Fernandes is great. I think Felix is a very good young player, one of the top players, taking away Mbappe, one of the top U21 and under, if you would, players. I just think, in all honesty, you guys got caught up a little bit with your, support of your clubs. In my opinion, support of your clubs, and not recognizing that we are dealing with something that's going to be special, and the market determined that the guy was worth 126 million, whatever it was.
The last time I heard a very good player, he's going to be a great player. Actually, the quote was, he's going to revolutionize the Portuguese soccer. That was the exact quote from someone. He's going to revolutionize Portuguese soccer. Was Renato Sanches, and I said that he was going to be a flop everywhere he's going to go. And so far, with the exception of Lille, he's been a flop.
I agree with you. The experience that he had at Bayern Munich wasn't the best, but we go back down again to the focus. How old is Renato Sanches? Was he prepared? Right? Because what I went over before with you, when we're referring to Vitor Bahia, for instance, at 27, and he plays 1 year and he gets sent home packing. I got olha, o Fernando Gomes, o nosso bibota, vê lá tu, o nosso bibota, foi para o Sporting do Gijón, foi nas Astúrias, foi para as Astúrias. O gajo lá se enganou, o performance não estava muito bom. They said, dude, you gotta maybe go to the beach, chill out a little bit. E acabou onde? Acabou na praia de Matosinhos. Né? Foi para o Gijón, e um jogador consagrado. Não estamos a falar num miúdo. Estamos a falar num gajo que marca golos de qualquer maneira. De qualquer maneira marca golos. E vai para um Sporting Gijón e passa despercebido. Então, esse ponto, o ponto que eu estou a tentar fazer é que o Félix não tem 21 anos. O Figo, com 23, foi para o Barcelona. No primeiro ano fez 5 golos. O Simão foi para o Barcelona, andou despercebido. O Futre foi para o Atlético de Madrid, andou despercebido. O Paulo Sousa vai para a Juventus com 24 anos. O Pauleta, com 20 anos, jogava no Miquelense. Não jogava no Atlético de Madrid, jogava no Miquelense. Quem é que temos mais? Tinha aqui um outro nome. O Bruno Silva. O Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, com 20 anos, estava no Benfica B. Não jogava. Né? O Rui Costa vai para a Fiorentina com 22 anos. E leva algum tempo também a acertar. O Chalana vai para o Bordeaux, bebe uns champanhes e vai-se embora e passa despercebido. Por isso estamos a falar em casos de jogadores. O Pizzi vai para o Atlético de Madrid, vai lá, passa pela Praça da Cibeles e vem outra vez para trás. Também, por isso estamos a falar num jogador que tem 20 anos, uma carga tremenda pelo preço, pelo facto de terem pago 120 milhões por ele. Faz 8 ou 9 golos no primeiro ano no Atlético de Madrid, tem uma data de lesões, e nós falamos do Félix como se não tivesse qualidade para lá estar, enquanto os outros que são mais entendidos que eu estão dispostos a dar 120 milhões. Então algo está mal. E o ponto que eu estou a fazer era isto que eu disse já a segunda ou terceira vez. Na semana passada, eu penso, tanto o Bruno como o Steph, vocês caíram para o vosso lado clubista, um pouco, no meu entender. Epá, o gajo é de Benfica, não sei o quê, e o Benfica, o gajo é o próximo Deus, e mais não sei o quê, não sei o quê. Sem ter a noção e a realidade, estamos a falar de um bom jogador. Não estamos a dizer que vai ser o próximo Cristiano Ronaldo, mas é um bom jogador. E nós, como portugueses, no meu entender, temos que valorizar o que temos de bom. Assim como temos que valorizar o Bruno Fernandes pelo trabalho excelente que está a ter no Manchester United. Mas queremos fazer aquela comparação. Onde é que andava o Bruno Fernandes com 20 anos? Andava no Udinese aqui, a fazer 2 ou 3 golos por temporada. No Udinese. Veio para Portugal, para o Sporting, para relançar. Então,
But you're talking about goals, not assists. Very important.
No, I'm talking about being an impact player.
No, he was an impact player. And the reason is he was an impact player. He was an impact player. We're talking about Figo at Barcelona was an impact player in his first year. Yeah, the goals weren't there. Stats wasn't stats. We're not talking about stats. We're talking about plays.
Yeah.
I disagree with you that Futre wasn't in terms of stats was an impact player, but he was an impact player for Atletico Madrid in his first year.
Well, just to give you an idea, when Figo goes to Barcelona, he's 23. He's not 20. He's not 19 and change.
That was actually good for him because that made him a better player because some guys leave too early, and we have more than enough examples. Now, George, I want to add Hugo back because he wants to help you out with this. So hold on a second. Hugo, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I
just wanted to.
All right, go ahead. You want to add?
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to tell George that I agree 100% with everything that he said the last 3 minutes or so. I think to label João Felix at 20 years old a bust, I mean, clearly you guys are putting your club in front of your glasses. And mainly I hear it a lot from, obviously, anything that's a product of Benfica is labeled a bust by anti-Benfiquistas right from the get-go. Even Renato Sanches is what, 23, 24? Yeah, he was a bust at Bayern, but this is a player that can easily be an impact player going forward for another top football club. I mean, he's so young. And listen, let's not forget the impact that he had for the Portuguese national team in Euro 2016. So the kid's a quality footballer. I mean, to label kids like this a bust, I just think that I understand we get caught up in our clubs times, but I think once these players leave our rivals or the teams that we support in our domestic league, obviously, which is the Portuguese league, I think we should piggyback off of our Portuguese product and really support these players. Again, I know you guys are all football guys like I am, and João Felix, I mean, é um gênio, and he's going to explode. Obviously, I agree with you, Bruno, that Athletic Madrid is not the best system for him, a coach like Simeone. Imagine João Felix in Guardiola's hands or in Klopp's hands, right? Coaches who have a totally different style. Go ahead, George.
He had the chance to, and he's the one that didn't want to go there. That was the big mistake. You know, Manchester City offered the same exact contract in 1 year on loan in Benfica, and he didn't want to stay on loan in Benfica. That's why he took Athletic Madrid.
Fair enough, but I'm not sure I buy that, to be honest with you. I think that Atletico was foi o clube que chegou à frente, as they say, right? Because they were the ones who went in and broke the clause. And then at that point, obviously, you're a kid. You know, this kid comes from nothing. I mean, I don't remember what he was making at Benfica, but all of a sudden you get presented a massive contract like that, and Jorge Mendes is your agent. I mean, who's gonna say no to that? Nobody's gonna say no if you're in his position. So obviously the price tag adds a lot of pressure to the kid. It didn't help that he got hurt in October and was out for 2 months. But you've seen flashes at Atletico Madrid of what he can do, even on a team that, again, isn't suited for his style of football. Let's be patient with the kid, guys, and let's get behind him. Let's forget that he's a Benfica product and he had that pass at Porto and he left the way he did. Let's put all that behind. He's no longer in the Portuguese league. Let's get behind him and listen. Let's support Liga Nos. That's what I wanted to add.
Steph, you want to add?
No, the only thing I'm going to add is I never said João Felix is not a great player. He's a great player. Of course he is. I mean, I've seen him playing before he got to the A team of Benfica. He was phenomenal in the youth of Benfica. He was champion of junior, juvenis before he came from Porto. Let's not forget that. He went to Benfica because his parents, they moved to Lisbon and he had no choice. But the thing that me and Bruno, we agreed on this, paying 120 million for a player of his quality, I'm pretty sure if you speak with someone from Athletic de Madrid, friends from Athletic de Madrid, they were expecting immediate results. They were They were not. Let me just finish. I won't take too long.
Go ahead.
They were not willing to wait. Okay, let's see. We spend 120 million on this phenomenal kid that has great feet, and they know that he can play well because you don't unlearn what you just did with Benfica a few months ago when he joined the Athletic Madrid team. And I think a lot of it is lack of performance has to do with the kind of a style that Simeone plays. It's not a good fit for João Felix. Yes, if he goes to a coach like Guardiola, I think the best of him will come out for sure. A team like that, I think the decision making was they won't want to go to Atletico Madrid, and maybe if Simeone doesn't stay, another coach comes in with the more offensively minded, it will benefit João Felix. But with that tactic that Simeone plays, if he stays again, I don't think João Felix will be playing well next year again. It's not a good fit for that kind of team. In Barcelona, it would be better. In teams like Manchester City, Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, I think he would be phenomenal. So I blame more of his agent. And I'm done.
It's a 6-year contract, though, guys. I mean, we're in year one. I think we're jumping the gun.
6-year contract is nothing. I mean, it could be sold next year if somebody's willing to pay the amount of Atletico Madrid.
You guys are you're looking at the price tag and rightfully so. But again, I'm
feeding off the how the Athletic de Madrid fans feel. Like I wish we could invite one of them, because then they could give a better perspective of how I didn't spend the money. I'm a Sportingista, so we didn't spend the money. We don't even have money for that much anyway. But
hey, Steph, I didn't know that side of you, that you were an Atletico Madrid fan too. Now.
No, I'm not. Believe me. That's how they feel.
I'm going to add something what Steph said, because he did touch on something with Atletico Madrid fans. All you have to go back is to look at the news from RTP and SIC, and when they went to go interview when he was signing, and what were they saying? He's going to be better than Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not better than Cristiano Ronaldo now.
Bruno, let me ask you this. I'm going to be quick with this.
But that's fans being fans. I mean,
let me ask you this real quick. You think PSG feel that they got their money's worth for Neymar for the 220?
No.
You feel that Liverpool made a good deal when Coutinho went to Barcelona for 150? You think Barcelona feels they got their money's worth? You feel that Griezmann? You feel that Griezmann, this move from Athletic to Barcelona, where 120 million was spent? You feel that Dembele from Borussia Dortmund to Barcelona for 105? You think he's a flop? You think that Pogba going to Manchester United at over $100 million? You think he's a flop? Oh, so is Neymar a flop? Coutinho a flop? Griezmann a flop? Dembele a flop? Pogba a flop?
Well,
we're talking about guys we're talking
Neymar
about guys
is good.
27, 28, 29 years old, with the
And-
exception.
And then, but if you talk to those fans from those clubs, they will let you know that they don't want them in their clubs. Neymar, Paris Saint-Germain fans, the French don't want him over there because all the problems. In Griezmann, when he went to Barcelona,
8 other.
who's the Catalonia, they don't want him either. They said, I agree with you, George.
But there's
Hey,
10
Steph,
other clubs that would welcome
Steph,
them.
I know
There's
you-
10
I
other
know,
clubs that would
I
welcome
know.
them with
I
open
know
arms.
you would not want
No
Neymar
doubt,
at your
no
club.
doubt, no doubt.
I know, Steph. I know you would not want Neymar at your club. I would welcome Neymar at Benfica any day if we could afford the guy. Or Coutinho.
I'll take any of those players you just.
We would have to sell the stadium or something, but.
And the other thing, just to wrap it up on my end, guys. Just to wrap it up on my end, I disagree a little bit with you guys as it relates to the formation, to the system of Simeone. I think the 4-4-2 is the system that's best fitted for Felix, because Felix is a second runner. Most of the teams now are playing some sort of 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, some sort of formation where that involves 3 central midfielders. Yeah, 3 central midfielders, 1 target player, and 2 wingers. Most of the formations, that's what they're employing. Felix is not a winger, right? So in this 4-4-2 formation where he plays as a second forward, it fits his characteristics like a glove. You know, he could counter well and so forth. I think what we're seeing is that Felix is not accustomed, just like Griezmann was. Felix is not accustomed to do the defensive work on the other side.
That's what I was going to say,
right? Yeah. And just like you had Guardiola, when Guardiola went to Man City, and he told Aguero, buddy, you got to start pressing up there, or you're not going to be on the field. Gabriel Jesus is going to be on the field. You're going to be in the stands, right? I think this is a new reality also. You know, that a player that is so creative now has to spend a lot of his energy also on the defensive end. And I think at Benfica, you didn't have to do as much of that, because in the Portuguese league, a guy like Felix didn't have to drop into the center of the midfield to give him the 3 midfielders there. I think that's
you nailed it on the head.
That's a huge difference.
Oh yeah, I agree.
What do you think?
I agree.
I was just going to say that Atletico defends with 11.
O Felix no Benfica era jogador vagabundo. They gave him a lot of freedom. He didn't have to defend. And now...
Steph, he fez 30 jogos, né?
Claro.
Fez 30 jogos.
And Vlad, I want this kid to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo, no doubt, because we're gonna need. Ronaldo's about to retire sooner or later, so we're gonna need quality players to play.
We're not gonna have anybody being the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Forget about that.
Yeah, he's a generational player. You're not gonna have anybody like that.
No.
George Fernandes, anything to add so we can finish this segment?
No, I mean, just a couple of things. I read on the ball a couple of days ago, a director from Athletic Madrid said this. We didn't buy João Felix for what he might be worth today. We bought João Felix for what he might be worth 5 years from today, right? So the investment is a long-term investment. It's not an investment for today. A second thing is that I'm reading right here on a couple of news sources. Athletic Madrid turned down an £150 million offer from a Premier League club earlier this season before the pandemic. So 150 million. This is after João Felix had 3 injuries. He had already had three injuries. He had an ankle injury. He had a couple of muscle injuries, and then he had the knee injury just about a month ago. So even though he's having a shitty season by a lot of people's standards, 150 million pounds, which equals to 168 million euros offer. Rumor is that it came from Manchester United.
Yeah, and George, to your point, and I think that's why the market rate for him is. I honestly ask you guys, give me names of players that have the same characteristics as Felix. In other words, a 10. A very creative player who's also going to get a lot of goals, right? So an old school number 10 who's also going to put the ball in the back of the net. How many players like that do we have in the current game?
Bruno Fernandes.
No, Bruno Fernandes is an excellent 8. He's an excellent 8.
He could do that position too.
He's not a 10. He's an excellent 8. He's not going to. outside of the shots from outside the box and free kicks, he's not one that's going to create one-on-one, take the defenders on, and make that difference. He doesn't have those tools. He's a very good player, with the tools that he's got. He doesn't have the tools to take the one-on-one. He doesn't have the speed to counter. He doesn't have the finishing that Felix has. He has an unbelievable passing game, unbelievable shooting game, but he's not. He's a different type of player. We wouldn't be playing him in my club, my team. I wouldn't play him in the same position. They're not interchangeable. They could play together, but they would have to play different roles.
Agreed.
All right, guys, we're going to move ahead because
agree as well.
we're an hour 3 in, and we still have a sporting segment to do. We do thank you again for joining us. We'll be hearing from you shortly.
Later,
All right, guys. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Later.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Bye.
Steph, you have your Sporting 1, Santa Clara 0 analysis. Go right ahead, bud.
Okay, so we played at home. We played with the tactic of the favorite one from Ruben Amorim, 3-4-3. At goal, we played with Max at the defense, with Coates, Nuno Mendes, Eduardo Quaresma, midfield. Doumbia, I have no clue why. He should be shipped away ASAP. Stefan Ritovski, Wendel, Marcos Acuna. Then up front, Giovanni Borges, András Sporar, and Gonçalo Plata. So we played against a team that's very respected, has a very good coach, João Henrique, knows the Portuguese league quite well. He's been there for a minute. Has a pretty good team. They played on a 4-3-3 tactic. Counter-attack-wise, Santa Clara has been deadly, very dangerous. And the one thing I like about this new Sporting, everyone knows that you can do não posso fazer omelete sem ovos. And Ruben Amorim is finding out the hard way that even though I like the performances we're putting it together, we don't have a good enough team to fight for the title race for 2020-21. I'm being totally realistic. This team, we wouldn't be able to compete against Futebol Clube Porto and Benfica, no way. And Braga. I'll throw Braga because they again playing phenomenal. They found their rhythm, and we'll talk about that after this. But Doumbia has no place of being at Sporting. He should be sold ASAP. Ritovski, I said that last week, and I'm going to say it again. I like him because Resudo, he shows a lot of heart, but he was caught offside more than 10 times. He can cross the ball for shit. And if you haven't learned by now, how much more time do you need? And I think Ruben Amorim, being the coach he is, he's picking up on these things. So overall, we're very solid as a team as far as defense. Midfield, we okay. And offense, we so. We have a lot of room for improvement. But when I look at Sporting play now, defensively, I'm not as scared as I used to be. I see that we're able to at least not suffer as many goals as we used to, especially against teams like Santa Clara. I recall we lost at home with Rio Ave 3-2. We lost at home com Famalicão. So games that we should have won that put us out of the title race because our defense stunk. And that I blame it on the coaching staff because Ruben Amorim in less than a couple months he was able to fix that problem. But again, he lacks of quality to build the game. Doumbia, the only thing he does is pass to the back, passes to the side, and he loses the ball a lot. He's afraid to take a risk. He has no vision of the game. He can't be playing at a team that wants to win a title in Portugal. The 1-0 was a good score. We could have scored a couple more goals, at least 3 more that I can recall in the first half and second half as well. The Santa Clara goal, the disallowed one, he was offside. You could tell even before the replay. So that was a good call by the VAR and the linesman. I didn't see really any PK. Sporting is claiming a PK. I saw it on replay. It's very, very soft. I don't blame the referee for not calling that a PK. And overall, good performance, solid performance from Sporting, but we still have a lot of work to do if we want to compete against Sporting Benfica for next season. This is not a good enough team. So Ruben Amorim, I'm pretty sure he's coming up with a good plan with his coaching staff and the scouting department. We do have a lot of materia prima in our youth, but we'll definitely have to go to the market and buy a couple of veterans to build up a team from the bottom all the way to the top to compete against our rivals. That's it.
George, what do you got to add?
I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch the game. I watched the highlights. I mean, it looks like, from the stats here, 67% possession against 33 for Sporting. So looks like Sporting pretty much controlled the game. On the highlights, I saw a goal that was disallowed for Sporting. And supposedly there was a foul in the box. I didn't see any foul for any foul that Sporting made on that play. I don't know what the referee saw. That's the only thing that on the highlights that caught my eye. But I mean, it looks like it was a solid victory for Sporting. Looks like some missed opportunities, 11 shots against 4. But it looks like Sporting only had one shot on net. Shots on target is 1 shot. So it looks like there was a lot of control of the game, but not a lot of when I mean opportunities, you mean shots on net. There wasn't a lot of shots on net, but yeah, I mean, Woodham's doing a good job. He's he's taking a look at the young players, seeing who he's gonna keep for next year, what positions he's gonna need to get some players for. But I want to see what he does next season once he has a whole preseason under his belt and he's able to get a team. Or put a team together more like he wants to. I'm intrigued to see what he's able to come up with next year.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Any other comments about this game?
No.
The only thing was that play you're talking about. Apparently, I watched it really carefully in the Juiz Final. Apparently, Sporar pushed a defender.
I didn't see that. The only thing that could have been called was Coates when he went to the ball.
No,
the other player fell down. I didn't see anybody else fall down or anything like that on the play.
It was actually Sporar. It was Sporar.
Yeah.
They saying, and then I saw it closely. I saw a little bit of a push. Okay, fine, maybe. And that was my first thought. And I was like, okay. So if you called that foul, why didn't you call the PK against Moreirense? And that's where I struggle with the Portuguese, arbiters. They're not consistent.
Yeah.
They call a foul against Sporting in the box today, and then against the Teclada. But the PK in favor of Sporting no Moreirense. I know it's a different game, different referees, but I'm hoping that the referees after the games they review it and they dissect it and learn from their mistakes. That's what I'm hoping that in Portugal it happens, because obviously it doesn't look like it. But that was it.
It was
Right. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna get our results for next week. So let me just pull that up real quick. So we have it's gonna be starting on Monday, July 13th. We have Marítimo Rio Ave. Both teams playing for something. Marítimo, I think, is just about safe. Rio Ave still in the hunt for UEFA. Setúbal Famalicão, same situation. Setúbal really needs to win at home. Santa Clara and Aves, they're both clear.
And Famalicão needs to win too if they want to go to the Europa League.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, the same as Rio Ave and Marítimo. They both need a win. Portimonense and Boa Vista. Portimonense obviously has all the pressure on them. Gil Vicente Tondela. Tondela has the pressure on them. Benfica, Vitória de Guimarães is going to be a tough game there, George, on Tuesday. What is your prediction for this one?
1-1.
1-1. Okay, wow. Steph, what do you have?
Well, I'm going to say 2-2.
I'm going to say 2-1. Benfica wins. I don't see how Guimarães. It seems like they're choking when they need to win the most. Moreirense Passos de Ferreira. Big win. Big game for Passos Ferreira. They need a win. Against Moreirense, who basically has nothing to play for. Braga and Belenenses, obviously two teams fighting for different reasons. Braga looking for UEFA. Belenenses looking to survive. And then Porto versus Sporting. Steph, I'll go first since we play at home. I'm going to say 2-1 Porto. Steph, what do you have?
I'm going to say 1-3 Sporting.
All right. George, what do you have?
I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1. All right.
And most likely it's going to be 1-1.
Just so everybody knows, if Porto does draw, they are automatically champions. But if Benfica does not beat Guimarães, the league is over and Porto is champion. Benfica needs to beat Guimarães, or that's the only result that really matters for them. All right. That's pretty much it for this week. We've had there was a listener, Ricky Pino, that came in. This is more for George. George, he's saying that JK is on his way back with 3 Flamingo players. Care to share? He says it's a done deal. This is coming from Ricky Pino, and he says his source was RTP.
That explains why o Benfica está a pedir mais dinheiro.
No, I mean, I think Jorge Jesus will come back. I think, but I don't think he'll bring the players that he wants. Rumor is that he wants Leo Pereira, he wants Gerson, and he wants Bruno Henrique. I think it's a lot of money there.
That's good players. That's good players.
Yeah.
Now, if they will adapt to the Portuguese league, é uma história diferente. But they are good players.
So you have there right there. You have 2 players that already played in Europe that really didn't do that well. You had Gerson that played in Italy, and then you had Bruno Henrique that played in Germany. I believe Leverkusen he played there, or Werder Bremen, one of them two, and they both didn't adapt too well. But I guess working with the coach that they're already used to can help them. And I don't really think there's any coach out there right now. Not because he's Portuguese or because he coached Benfica. I think Jorge Jesus is one of the best coaches in the world right now. So I think bringing 3 players that have played with him almost a year actually, I think can help them. And again, it's not an Italian league or a German league. It's the Portuguese league. So
how much money are we talking about?
So I was looking at numbers yesterday, and it doesn't make any sense to me. They're saying that Leo Pereira is avaliado at 10 million, and then Bruno Henrique is it's another 10 million, and then Gerson is 20 million. Bruno Henrique is 29 years old. So that could be it. But best case scenario, we're talking 40 million. Which I don't think it's 40 million. I think it's much more than that. So we'll see. So because of the loss yesterday,
the tie.
Not the tie. It was they went into penalty shots. There had to be a winner because the way it works in Brazil, this Campeonato Estadual, Flamengo won the first phase. Now, if they would have won yesterday, they would have won the second phase, which would have meant that the Campeonato Carioca, Campeonato Estadual would have been over. But because they lost yesterday, now they need to play 2 more games. Flamengo, Fla-Flu, which is the big one of the big derbies in Brazil. They're going to have to play 2 more games. So they play one on Sunday and they play one on Wednesday. And so based on the scores, that's what's going to determine who's the champion of the Carioca Estadual. So, I don't think anything will be done until next Wednesday. They're saying following Friday there might be some news. But I want to see what's going to happen. I mean, Jorge Jesus in Brazil is a second god over there, and him turning his back on Flamengo to come to Benfica with the possibility. Everybody talks in the news there. Everybody's throwing his name out for the Brazilian national team in case Brazil doesn't do a very good job now in these next couple of years with Tite and the World Cup in 2022. Him turning his back on those opportunities. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, news is that Orelhas is offering him a 5-year deal, making, I believe he offered him 8 million. And he wants so 8 million gross, which means 4 million clean, and he wants another million clean. So, right now, Jorge Jesus
he wants 5 million.
About 5 million. So Jorge Jesus right now, ele tem a faca e o queijo na mão, right? Luis Felipe Vieira needs him to save his butt,
save his job. Yeah,
and I think he's going to give him whatever he wants, because I think with these resultados and stuff like this, I think he's out if he doesn't bring in a Jorge Jesus or even a bigger name.
So let me ask you something. I'm sorry, Bruno. I have to say this one, because if I'm harsh on Bruno, I'm going to be harsh on you too. So how many lampiões are gonna ver por ter sócio cartões because they said filha da puta do Jorge Jesus nunca mais quer vir do meu clube, traidor, é cabrão. I've heard all these terms. So am I going to see a lot of Benfiquistas now being fake and say, eu adoro Jorge Jesus. If he comes back, what's going to happen? Is it going to divide the club? Is Benfica going to lose 100,000 sócios? Because they said if he comes back, não quer ser sócio de Benfica. Like aquele gajo que dizia, venham à festa. Quando o Benfica estava em primeiro lugar. So, what do you think is going to happen, George? Is it going to divide your club when Jorge comes back? Because it was thousands and thousands of Benfiquistas saying that Jorge Jesus podia morrer amanhã que não fazia falta nenhuma.
Listen, he's not a name that the administration has consensus on, and that's why it's taking long now, and why he didn't come in the past. So there's still a lot of people within the administration that don't agree with him coming back based on what happened with this transition over to Sporting. Listen, at the end of the day, his transition over to Sporting, in my opinion, his transition over to Sporting wasn't anything that it wasn't his choice. It was Luis Felipe Vieira's choice. Luis Felipe Vieira wanted to show that he could win without him, and pretty much kicked him out. Was trying to shortchange him on a contract. He knew that he was overpaying him at a time, and was trying to shortchange him on a new contract. Bruno Carvalho, being the sneaky beast that he is, took that opportunity to sign a contract with Jorge Jesus prior to the champion to the league even being over. Which again, it's an unethical, but coming from those people, not from those people, from him specifically, Bruno Carvalho, it's nothing new. But listen, it will divide some of the club. But I think at the end of the day, results will cure everything. If we win, everybody will be happy. If we lose, then it'll just be another thing that they could throw at Luis Felipe Vieira's face as far as the last couple of years of his mandatos with Benfica.
I have a question for you. Let's just say the scenario happens. You get Cavalera to come back, Cavalo Branco, as he's known at Benfica, Cavalo Branco. Um, season starts. You lose the Super Cup to Porto whenever they play it. Your season starts off a little rough. You don't make Champions League. Elections come up. Orelhas loses. And someone else is the new president. And you have Cabaleta as your coach, and they don't want him. And you have a 5-year contract sitting on the table. What happens next?
He's gonna stay throughout the contract. I don't think anybody's gonna fire him and throw away 40 million euros.
I think this might be a process that a lot of Benfica fans are going to be against for this. So Johnny Sinedo came in. What Benfica is offering Cabaleta is much less than Flamengo. I don't know exactly how much he makes at Flamengo. I don't know.
He makes 3.5 million euros. Actually, he makes 3.5 million euros at Flamengo, clean, and his bonuses for Brasileirão, Copa do Brasil, and Libertadores are over $1.5 million clean if he wins them.
And when you see the number 12 million, so you can make it clear for our listeners, when they talk about 12 million, that's for his entire staff, correct?
That's for the entire staff, even though that he takes, the
majority of
it. Three-fourths of it.
That's right. The world.
That's a big chunk of change. And again, if things don't do well, because you talked about 3 players that he needs to have. So they spend a lot of money bringing in these 3 players. They spend a lot of money bringing coaching staff and coach. And if you don't qualify for Champions League, because I think this season, because of COVID-19, it's only one game. I believe it's only one game as a qualifier. You have a bad day. Adios. That's a lot of money.
And you have something else, and it's one of the reasons why there's a lot of pushback in the administration. The big guy in Benfica right now, one of the big guys in Benfica right now is Jorge Mendes. Jorge Mendes controls a lot of the players in the starting 11 or in the 18, and controls a lot of the players, a lot of the juniors and the B team players. And he's one of the from the rumor, he's one of the people that is putting some pressure on Luis Felipe Vieira not to go with Jorge Jesus, because he knows that Jorge Jesus is now one that that will take a lot of players from the B team or from the juniors team and play them. He wants his own players, right? And then another thing is, remember the winger from Corinthians that Benfica bought for 20 million, Pedrinho. Remember what he said about Pedrinho when he was asked in a Brazilian TV, what he thought of Pedrinho, and he said there's at least 5 players. There's 5 players out of the top of my head that I could tell you right now within a couple of minutes that are better than him. And if he comes over, he'll be one of the players in his squad coming this upcoming September.
And let's not forget that Pedrinho, Benfica has asked Corinthians to
push back the first payment
for till 2021. So there's a lot of pressure right now for Benfica. They're going to have to sell a lot of players in the offseason, just like everybody else. Let's make that clear, just like everybody else. So that's going to be a big one. Steph, real quick, Johnny Sinedo came in and he kind of reminded me there is going to be a Porto Sporting Clásico this Wednesday. No Acuna for the Porto game for Sporting. I don't know if there's anybody else that saw that's going to be suspended. I know for Porto it's going to be no Sergio Oliveira due to injury, no Otavio, no Corona, and I think there's one more, but I can't remember.
Uribe.
No Uribe.
Uribe. Yeah.
No Uribe. No Sergio Oliveira, because he's out for the rest of the season with a muscle tear. No Uribe, no Corona. Anything that you're looking forward to in this game?
I'm hoping that Sporting goes to the Dragão and wins. There's no pressure from the Portista fans. Usually, o 12º jogador plays a big factor no estado do Dragão. We know that os Super Dragões are rowdy, and from the beginning of the game until the end, they support their team. I mean, just like no-name boys and Juventude Unina. Let's be honest.
But there's no fans. There's no fans.
But there's no fans, exactly. So I think with that element, that ingredient out of the Clásico, it actually benefits Sporting. I think, hey, we don't want to be Bom de Festa. We don't want to go over there and tie the game and you guys celebrate in front of our faces. We would like to delay one more week, and then you can have your celebration at home against Moreirense, because Porto will play again no Estádio Dragão contra Moreirense. So I hope we can make you guys wait another week. You will be champion no matter what. Porto is not going to lose 3 games. I mean, they have the luxury of they could lose against Sporting. Of course, they don't want to because it's a Clásico, but they could, and it won't affect them in any way. Portistas will be pissed, of course, but they'll be pissed for a few days because then they'll win against Moreirense and they'll be champions. But I can see Porto playing a little bit more defensive and counter-attack because they only need 1 point. So we'll see. I'm hoping Sporting wins. That's all. And yeah.
All right. Is that it, guys?
Well, the only thing I wanted to say really fast was I think Benfica is about to make a huge mistake by getting Jorge Jesus, because I know myself and Bruno spoke about this several times. O Jorge Jesus tem a tendência de comprar jogadores estrangeiros já feitos. Não aposta muito na formação do Benfica. And with that said, Benfiquistas, I know a lot of them have a short memory, but for those that don't have a short memory, they're the ones against Jorge Jesus' contratação, because they know he will go to Benfica and disregard the youth, and he will bring 3 players initially, like they saying, but it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more estrangeiros no Benfica, because ele quer uma equipa feita logo à partida. E é isso que ele vai exigir ao Luís Filipe Vieira, é jogadores já feitos. E vai contratar, como a gente já falou tantas vezes, eu e o Bruno, e vai destruir totalmente tudo o que foi feito até agora na formação de Benfica. E talking about João Félix, que é um jogador português, e vamos suportá-lo. Yeah, of course, no doubts about that. But if I'm Benfiquista now, I'll be highly concerned, because this guy, when he was at Benfica, he didn't give 2 shits about the formação. And that's about to happen again. And he'll be a lot of money and a waste of money. That's my take on it.
There is a reason why Bruno Carvalho on his podcast said, I really hope this deal goes through, because I think he senses that this will be the beginning of the end for Benfica for many years, at least financially.
Or at least for Luís Filipe Vieira. That's a sure thing.
And financially, because remember, we talked about this.
Financially, yeah.
Financially, whoever takes over for Orelhas, whenever that is, and George knows better than anybody, and he'll admit to it. They're gonna find a gigantic hole that they're gonna be in some problems, and that's when the real truth is gonna come out, and all the Vieiristas that are out there are gonna be like, "Man, George, all these years I've been arguing with you, and you've been right this whole time. I can't believe it."
Because there's a reason why the Benfica SAD e a administração são 2 coisas diferentes, mas ao fim do dia é a mesma merda. They asking for more money. É para tapar buracos. Where the fuck is the money from João Félix? It's way gone. Há muitas comissões. I'm not Sporting and Porto. They also a mess. Don't get me wrong. We also broke. Well, Bruno knows that Porto is broke, because we talk about it all the time. Sporting is not in any better shape. But why is Benfica asking for more money? Nas obrigações. They're asking for more money because they need to pay. If this deal with Jorge Jesus goes through, like Bruno said, and well, it's not only Jorge Jesus, it's his assistant coaches. He's going to bring everybody, his entire entourage, and that's expensive. Plus the 3 players that Jorge falou. You're talking about not only 40 million, it's going to be over 50 million easily. And Benfica is agreeing with this. It's like, wow, I hope you guys get what you want, because you'll be broke, what Bruno said. And the scenarios he gave, that's a perfect storm. Because if he doesn't win a Super Cup, if he doesn't qualify for the Champions League, a perfect storm.
And a bad start to the league.
Listen,
o Rui Silva ganha. O Rui Silva ganha a cagar as eleições.
For Flamengo, it's actually a good deal. You know, Flamengo, they're the uncertainty, the uncertainty of the Brasileirão starting. They don't even have a date, because the only estaduais that are taking place, it's the Carioca estadual. No other estaduais are taking place. The estadual in São Paulo, it's not taking place. So the federation is saying, yeah, we're going to start on the 8th or the 9th of August. How are you going to start on the 8th or 9th of August if you haven't even finished the estaduais? You can't start without the estaduais. Now, in other countries like Peru, Ecuador, Argentina, Chile, this coronavirus pandemic, it's just starting now. So if Flamengo is not playing the Brasileirão and they're not playing the Taça de Libertadores, why are they paying coach, a ton of money? And you got to remember another thing, right? Jorge Jesus gets paid in euros, right? So he signed the same contract that he initially signed last year. He gets paid 3.5 million clean in euros. The difference is that the euro last year, compared to where the euro is, or where the real, because remember, there's got to be an exchange between the real and the euro. Right now, Flamengo is paying almost a third. Actually, yeah, they're paying a third more to get them that 3.5 million euros clean, right? So they'll save on the contract, and then on top of that, if they're able to sell even. Listen, to me, Gerson is a $25 to $30 million euro player. Bruno Henrique is 29 years old, so you're probably looking at 15 to 20 million. And then you have Leo Pereira, which is younger. You're probably, let's say, they bought him for 4 million. Let's say you sell him for 10 million. Let's say you're talking about 40 million euros. 40 million euros in reais is 240 million reais. 240 million reais plus the money that you save for Jorge Jesus, which is another 25 million reais. You're talking about almost 270 million reais. 270 million reais. It's with what Corinthians makes the whole year. It's where 99% of the teams in Brazil, that's their orçamento for the whole year. Flamengo last year, they made about just so you get an idea, they made about 980 million reais in revenues or income. You're talking about selling 3 players, letting go of the coach, and you're making a third of that in a pandemic where a lot of their money is not coming in. Remember, they're playing games without 65,000 people, right? Before it was sellouts every single game, right? You don't play the Taça de Libertadores. Taça de Libertadores, I think for them winning it last year, they got like 25 million euros for it. You got the Brasileirão, which is another 10 million or something like that. You're talking about a lot of money that they're not making, and they can make by letting go of Jorge Jesus. Well, I don't need you now. We're not playing the Brasileirão. We're not playing the Libertadores, and we're not playing the Campeonato do Mundo. So I'm not going to be paying you, 25 million reais for these competitions. And in exchange, the rumor is that they already have everything set up for Mark Silva to take over Flamengo once Jorge Jesus leaves.
Yeah, but at the same time, to just finish up really fast, everything that you said makes sense. But you do know that if Benfica, let's say, and Flamengo, they reach an agreement for, just for the sake of argument, of 40 million, o Benfica não vai pagar logo por 40 milhões. It's
of course not. Nobody does.
Exactly. No, nobody does. You're correct. X amount of years. So Flamengo teve esse dinheiro, já morreu muita gente. But anyway,
they don't need the money.
2 things that's going to happen, that if Jesus makes this move really fast, he's going to piss off the Flamengo fans. He better not even go back to Brazil ever again, because they're going to call him a traitor. E depois eu vou gostar de ver o melão dos benfiquistas, que aqueles que o chamaram nome de Jesus agora tem que o aceitar para trás. Isto é que me vai dar mais gozo. Because I have personal friends of mine, cunhados, tenho familiares benfiquistas que disseram, pintados todos vermelhos, eu nunca mais quero ver aquela filha da puta no meu clube. And if this happens, vão ter que engolir sapos. And I want to see the benfiquistas that I know, and it's a lot of them a aplaudir o Jorge Jesus, a dizerem ainda bem que ele veio para trás. Because then, they're a bunch of hypocrites.
All right.
Nothing that results can't solve.
Mas sim, são hipócritas na mesma.
Yeah, but listen, but you had that with Simão Sabrosa going to Benfica after leaving Barcelona. You had that with Quaresma doing the same thing.
O Simão Sabrosa é um jogador que nem merece respeito. Então, ele disse que era sportinguista e depois mais tarde virou benfiquista. Isto em Portugal chama-se o quê? Troca-casacas. Would you accept me as a benfiquista? Or would Bruno accept me as a portista? I hope you say no. Because I would accept you as a sportingista.
You had some players in your team that did the same thing, and not very recently.
Não. Ele disse de boca cheia, que era sportingista, estou a falar de jogar no Sporting, jogar no Benfica. Atenção, isso é diferente. O Jaime Pacheco jogou no Porto e depois jogou no Sporting. O Gomes jogou no Porto e depois jogou no Sporting, mas foram sempre portistas. O Inácio jogou no Porto e ele sempre foi sportinguista e continua. Agora o Simão Sabrosa não. Jogou no Sporting, disse que era sportinguista e depois, mais tarde, virou benfiquista. Eu nem sei como é que os benfiquistas o aceitaram. Porque isso não. Isso é uma pouca vergonha. É uma pouca vergonha.
Fábio Coentrão said the same thing.
Não, ele disse que foi sempre sportinguista desde pequenito. Até há vídeos a mostrar isso.
When he was in Benfica. Now when he was at Benfica, he said that.
He said that.
Olha, sabes o que é? É pessoas sem vergonha.
É um peixeiro que quer.
Claro, exatamente. Não tem vergonha na filha da puta da cara, porque tu sabes muito bem que a gente nunca aceitaria o Bruno ser sportinguista ou benfiquista, ou eu ser portista ou benfiquista. Vocês iam logo.
Listen, that guy Fábio Coentrão, he threw himself at the big three. He threw himself at Porto, threw himself at Benfica, threw himself at Sporting, and whoever got him first.
Listen, o Liedson, lembras-te do Liedson?
Yeah.
Bom, ele foi para o Porto, não foi?
Foi.
E foi campeão no Porto, não foi? Mas se tu falares com o Liedson agora, ele vai admitir que foi sempre sportinguista. Agora o Simão Sabrosa não. Ele foi reles, era sportinguista e trocou a casaca. Isso é uma coisa que não se faz em Portugal. Ninguém faz em Portugal isso. Ninguém. Um troca-casacas, a gente fica sempre com um olho assim de lado. Este aqui era portista, agora é benfiquista? I doubt it. Fuck him, I don't trust him. You know that's true. Okay, guys.
É mesmo que o Moutinho disse que ele era benfiquista e depois mudou para o Sporting.
E agora é quê? Não é sportinguista, de certeza absoluta.
Não,
agora é portista.
Pois, agora é portista. é o trio effect.
They can't say otherwise now. They say otherwise, limpa o sarampo logo.
Hey, listen, I mean, he had the most success at Porto, so at least at the A level. So.
Não, mas o Inácio também foi campeão no Porto, ganhou Supertaças e Taças de Portugal e ele disse sempre que foi sportinguista, até disse isso a Pinta Costa. Há um podcast no Sporting 160, que é o lá de Portugal, e admirem-te, eu dei-me sempre bem lá no balneário do Porto, falei sempre bem com Pinta Costa e eu disse ao Pinta Costa que eu era sportinguista e ele respeitou-me por isso. Ele nunca trocou o clube dele, não é como essa merda do Simão.
Isso era a velha guarda. It's different people now. Now they only see green and not the Sporting shirt, the other type of green. The green lá do dinheirito. All right, guys.
Okay.
Great podcast. We have a lot of good insight. We'll talk. I think it's going to be. Was it Wednesday when you guys play, Steph?
It's against you.
Boy,
Wednesday.
so we'll see everybody Wednesday. We'll see everybody Wednesday, and we'll take it from there. So, shout out to everybody.
Ciao. Later.
Peace.
Okay, peace, guys. Bye.
Later.